Hello, I'm Quentin Tarantino, and you're watching Spotlight Cinema. Okay, so before I was asked to come on Spotlight Cinema, I had contemplated several films I had been wanting to talk about for quite some time. I could have spoken about Sergei Parajanov's The Color of Pomegranates. I could have spoken of Louis Malle's Elevator to the Gallows. Alright? But there's one film in particular that I've been meaning to talk about, and that's the animated and cinematic masterpiece, The Land Before Time. What is it about The Land Before Time that hasn't already been said? Well, I thought to myself about this as I was watching it one late night when I had an abundance of smoke and several bottles of Cabernet wine from Napa Valley. We're dealing with characters that are on a quest, on an adventure. We have Littlefoot, who loses his mother during the Great Earthshake after she fights off a Sharptooth. Sharptooth is a Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's a very sad scene. Kinda makes you cry. So, if anybody's got a problem with that, fuck you, alright? Now, Littlefoot has a call to adventure. To go look for the Great Valley, a mystifying place that he's not even quite sure if it even exists, alright? And along this quest, he runs into other dinosaurs who share a collective trauma that he experienced as well, because they all lost their family members as well during the Great Earthshake. First, he runs into Ducky. Now, Ducky's a very energetic, very chill person to be around. She helps Littlefoot along this journey. And then you have Petrie. He's a pterodactyl, right? Who doesn't know to fly, which is very suffocating. If you can't fly and you have wings, wouldn't you be annoyed? And then we have Sarah. So the thing about Sarah, right? Sarah's a fucking bitch. She doesn't even respect or understand the intuition of Littlefoot's journey as he tries to find the Great Valley. She keeps doubting his intuition, alright? She comes off as a pessimistic, cynical materialist who doesn't necessarily know anything about the real world. Now, the reason why Sarah's like this is because she learns it from her father. Her father is a Triceratops. He's a fucking asshole, alright? And then we have Spike. Now, Spike is a strange guy, alright? Because Spike doesn't even talk. So for me, he would be hard to write dialogue for. And also, he looks like he's blown out of his mind for the most part. He looks like he's stoned. But then I began to realize something. Spike is a Stegosaurus. A Stegosaurus had a massively large body and a relatively small head. Alright? Their skulls are really tiny, and many archaeologists discovered that their brains were actually the size of a walnut. So, this whole time thinking that, Spike is careless and just a quiet type, it turns out he's actually retarded. I actually got my influence from Spike to create the character for Brad Pitt in True Romance, who's laying down on the couch, the pothead. So now we have all of these characters that join forces together. The Sharptooth is going around hunting down the dinosaurs. So Littlefoot and the gang, they have to work together to find a way to get to this place called the Great Valley. Alright? And what is the Great Valley? The Great Valley is this luminous place of beautiful vegetation where there is peace and tranquility amongst all these dinosaurs. Except for Sharptooth. Alright? You're going around eating other dinosaurs, but, generations of evolution have not even created an anatomy for yourself to actually have arms long enough to wipe your own ass. Alright? So that sucks. Now, the great thing about all these characters, they end up working together to defeat the Sharptooth. You have Littlefoot pushing a boulder against the Sharptooth, Petrie's trying to do it, Ducky is too. And then you have Spike with his super retard strength come in. And then Sarah, who's been nagging the whole entire time, finally joins in, knocking the Sharptooth down. And finally, Petrie learns to fly. One of the things about The Land Before Time that I really do love, though, is it's the journey along the way, but it's also, there's elements that reminds me that I'm watching a really, really good Western. Alright? I'm watching something on the likes of Sergio Leone. When you watch a Western, you got brothels, you got whiskey, and you got shootouts. Alright? But in this one, you have dinosaurs. I want to mention that some people were complaining about the film as being violent. Why are we showing these very serious themes, and especially a kids' animated film? Well, I reject your hypothesis. I reject what you're saying. And I don't really care when people tell me, why do you like the violence or the harsh themes of the film? Because I like cinema. And I'm not going to explain myself to anybody anymore about it. Because I've already said what I've said about it. And I'm not going to give it to you. I'm not going to give it to you for your show. I'm not your monkey. You can't make me dance. Alright? Now the thing about The Land Before Time that I love so much is that it's an allegory. It's a universal allegory that can be applied to any generation or any epoch throughout history, which is strikingly similar to the Native American experience in the United States from 1830 of the Indian Removal Act up until the expulsion of the Navajo people from southwestern United States, as the United States government was expanding and moving westward. And the brutality against the natives is very strikingly similar to Littlefoot and his friends, who are all very different, the different tribes joining together looking for the Great Valley. And it's also strikingly similar to the names. The noun phrase is used. Littlefoot is a Native American sounding name. And we also have long necks, or very similar to the stories Earth on Turtle's Back. In Jungian collective unconscious, it is a universal story. Alright? Not only is it a sentimental film, it is a timeless piece of cinema, and animated cinema in particular. And on that note, I close out on introducing the 1988 classic, The Land Before Time. Thank you very much for watching, and join us next week when we will be talking about Rugrats in Paris. Now the thing about Rugrats in Paris, alright, we have the babies going to the city and they're enthralled by the cultural enrichment. Alright, and people don't realize this, but the Rugrats in Paris also inspired Kanye West's song, Niggas in Paris.